Hello viewers, Super GT here. This is Carnage Central, the city of Carnage, which is Monza. Now there's something that seems to be a trend in these daily races, these short races, where basically starting at the front is, or in the middle, is akin to suicide basically. So I'm going to show you here. Starting at the back is the place to be. Starting 12th out of 12, 4 laps of Monza. So we're running no chicane here, so that merely postpones the drama until the second chicane, well, which is now the first chicane, I suppose. So through Curva Grande, as we all hurtle towards the big braking zone, it's going to be an even bigger braking zone, up to nearly 160 miles an hour. Here it is. This is where it all kicks off, and you can see here Moses in full effect. I've saved it up and deployed it all at once, and I've gone from last to 4th. That is how it's done. So there's this sort of a weird way that you can sort of get momentum through a pack. Sometimes, I mean, I race in real life in karting. Sometimes it happens in real life too. Sometimes it's better, rather than starting 3/4 of the way back, sometimes it's better to start right at the back. You can get this weird sort of momentum through the pack as the pack sort of fights with each other, or fights with itself. So you've seen a good example of that there, as everyone just gets involved with each other. I mean, if I was in the middle of all of that, then, you know, I would be the one facing backwards with 50 years of penalties. As it stands here, it's a good start. Up to 4th, we could win this race from last. If we can do that, that's a good shout, and it would be even better because I haven't done any qualifying, so I don't really know what I'm doing here. These are my first few laps. That guy's obviously taking the wrong line. I'm going way wide at Parabolica here. So then onto the main straight. Getting Parabolica right is crucial, because of course we have no first chicane, so we're going to be carrying our speed all the way around Curva Grande, and as is very typical at Monza, we have a big slipstreaming battle. So the German here going to go around the outside. I blocked the inside. There's not much I can do to defend that really. So he's going to have to sweep around the outside. Is he just about going to do it? Yes, he is. So that corner just about flat out. It can be a bit hairy if you're going 2 abreast. Into the chicane then, he's braked a little early. This other guy out of nowhere gets reset, sent back 10 years in time. He got reset hard there, and ultimately the safe playing German gets out ahead once again, although messes up Lesmo 1, and I'm just going to nip ahead before Lesmo 2 up into 3rd, 1st and 2nd just around Lesmo 2 here. You can see them there, 1st place with penalty as it stands here, the bright red text ever present in Gran Turismo showing up above his car as we go down underneath the old banking. That is what that bridge there is, braking just before the 100-metre board into the Ascari chicane through the left, and then back onto full throttle for the right and the left. The car really grippy and not much drama on the throttle. This is one of the better behaved Group 4 cars. So then into Curva Grande on lap number 3. Canyon Drifter here, he was in the lead. I think he's slowed down to serve his penalty up the inside into the 2nd chicane, which is now the 1st chicane, and it's a nice move, really nicely done. Now up into 2nd. Is there a chance we can catch the leader? There is just under a 2-second gap from me to him, the Frenchman, in 1st position. We're all driving the same car here, so it is just purely on ability or lack of. Now we're going to fast forward slightly here. Straights are fairly, you know, it's kind of obvious what's going to happen. We're going to drive in a straight line. Now through Ascari, going to try and get the best exit here again onto the back straight, and see if I can just start to reel this guy in. Now, he's actually got a penalty there. That could be crucial if I can get within a 2nd of him. I always just assume that someone's got a 1-second penalty. It's a sort of a safe assumption. It probably is well over that, but if I can just get within a 2nd of him, then there's a very good chance I can win this race, as long as I don't get a penalty as well. So the slipstreaming really important around this circuit, and slipstreaming is very, very powerful in this game. Very, very powerful indeed. and it must not be underestimated just how powerful it is. Once you're within the range, it really can help you. He's going to go way too deep. I'm going to go deep as well. Am I going to get a penalty? Let's see. It's going to flash up here. Yes, I am. 0.7. And to be honest, I'll take that, because if I was going to slow right down to avoid the penalty, I think I would have lost more than that. So that's the reason why I sort of just cut the second chicane. Oh, sorry, the second apex. He's gone very wide, and it hasn't slowed him down really. Quite how he's managed that, I don't know. Just skidding across the surface of the gravel and losing minimal velocity. As we now come up towards the sky, he's gone defensive, taking the middle route. So I'm going to go to the left-hand side. Up the inside, not quite going to happen. Canyon Drifter taking a bite from behind, and it's going to be the long way round for him. So now I'm sitting here with a 0.7 second penalty. I don't know how big his penalty is. And looking behind, Canyon Drifter's had a nightmare through Ascari. So he's dropped right off. That's going to give me a very good chance of finishing first or second for sure. Up the inside into the final turn. Is that going to put him into a wider line? Yes, it is. You can still get the traction off the corner. So is there a chance I can win this? I don't want to go right behind him here, because there's a very good chance that he could just slam on the anchors and I could push him across the line. So I'm not going to bother 7 penalty. I'm just going to go straight over, and I win by 0.064 from the Frenchman. That's how close it was. So he took the approach of slowing down to serve the penalty. I just thought, I'm just going to go across and take the 1 second. So a last to first win, you know, not bad at all. We can't complain about that. We're going to see the opposite here. I'm going to start at the sharp end, starting second, but getting an amazing launch, putting TCS up to 3 just for the launch, and then back down to 0 after that. The car is really easy to control on the throttle. It's just that initial launch where you might want it. So this time around, the very different side of the grid at the front. And the problem you have here is that people don't really know where they're braking, and well, if they don't, then you're in the way basically. So let's see what happens here. Spaniard on the inside, looks okay. I'm going to wind around the outside, and we just both get punted into hell from nowhere. I think Satan actually made an appearance there and really just punted us so hard we've gone to the centre of the earth. So I've gone from second to 10th. Well, it was actually going to be first if I could have just swept around the outside. So I've lost, in essence, 9 positions and probably a chance of winning this race, which is very annoying, of course. But we'll see how it goes. So this is this weird idea that sometimes it's better to start at the back, because of just the way that people just don't brake into turn 1. So, I mean, this game does have sportsmanship rating, driver ratings, and it does seem to separate the drivers quite well based on ability, but it's not always going to, you know, prevent absolute morons not braking. You just can't really help that, especially at Monza, which is Carnage Central, especially the first chicane. So the German behind getting a poor run through Ascari, brief contact with the Spaniard. I'm going to go past the Frenchman and the German up into 8th. The recovery begins now. Spaniard really wide. So we're going to go side by side on the exit of Parabolica. And he's going to follow me up into the slipstream, I would presume. Is he going to get behind me? I think he must do. So crossing the line, 4-lap race, a short sprint in essence. But I've got the slipstream, I've got the close attention of 2 drivers. I'm going to go to the right hand side, and he didn't really take the invitation to go to the left, which is where he really should have gone, as the Frenchman has done here, and quite comfortably swept around the outside and gained 2 positions, which is what the Spaniards should have done. But anyway, into now the first chicane. Look at the 150 board, braking just before, obviously a really big braking zone here from maximum velocity. Really having to get on the brakes because the Frenchman went in a little bit too hot and got a poor run on the exit. Into Lesmo 1 up the inside. I've got the run. Brief bit of contact, but I think it's fair enough. Up into 7th place. Just scanning the road ahead, trying to get a good run through Lesmo 2. We've taken that really nicely. Now let's skim ahead within this race and see the gaps. The 6th place is there, achievable, but there's another big gap ahead of him of a couple of seconds. So anything from 5th upwards. Oh, that guy's had a big moment on the exit for Ascari. Just gave up straightening up the car and just carried on steering as if the corner was continuing, and straight into the barriers for him. So I've lost the attention of the Frenchman behind, gaining on the Belgian here into the first chicane. Now look at this, I'm going to sweep up the inside. I was going to go to the back of him, and that is an absolutely savage move, and somehow I don't get a penalty for that. In fact, I'll be amazed if he didn't get a penalty, because I kind of pushed him wide. But this is the ruthless GT coming out. No more caution, just pure aggression, no messing about at all. So we're in 5th, and look at this, the 3 guys ahead all have penalties, so this is a really good opportunity to potentially get 2nd. If I can just pull myself onto the back of these guys and get within a second of 2nd place, then there's a very good chance I can finish in 2nd. There we go, setting the fastest lap, purple sectors. We are lighting up the timing screen at the moment. So down the main straight for the final time, lap 4 of 4 we have here, tucked into that slipstream, maxing out almost at 170, briefly at 170 miles an hour as we turn into Curva Grande. I would imagine this is an amazing feeling going through that corner at that speed. Now into the chicane, a brief touch into the chicane, well, we're through okay, but well, is it really okay? We get this 10-second penalty. Our race has been absolutely murdered. Charlie Whiting has just assassinated me really hard, and well, that's killed any chances of anything good. Unless all of these guys ahead have 11-second penalties, then I might have some chance. Let's see what happens though as we finish this race. Only half a lap left to go. It seems to be a penalty fest at the moment. Into Ascari for the last time. Again, another tiny tap into the rear end, and yeah, another 10-second penalty. So this is quite unbelievable. Quite unbelievable. 20 seconds worth of penalties. I'm going to have to stop here, have a cup of tea, have a shower because I'm so dirty from all the ramming I've been doing, and finish in 10th, which is an absolute atrocity, a crime against motorsport. A shocking race there. So we move on to the next race. Can we go about correcting what went wrong in that race? I mean, that was going fairly well. I mean, it was a good recovery up until that final lap. I could have definitely finished 2nd, if not for those tiny penalties, which were just absolutely ridiculous. Let's see if we can go about getting a better result this time around. We've got the Hungarian on our left-hand side, the pole sitter on the left, Super GT on the right, through Curva Grande. I'm going to just about take the lead. Now let's hope that we can get something a little bit cleaner this time around. So I'm going to just cover him off into the first corner, then move slightly over to the racing line. And whoa, German out of nowhere gets reset. He's been sent back in time, just like the Terminator. Now up into the leading position, up into 1st. Now that's good. You can lead from the front. Just set some clean laps, ignore the guys behind, and just get your head down and do what you do best. Set some quick laps. Well, it's not always what I do best, but if I get my head down, then it might be the best thing I do here. So later on in the race, lap 2 now, Remco here, the Dutchman, keeping within range of the slipstream through Parabolica, and now using that to maximum effect down into the first chicane. I'm looking around the outside, and he's given me the space just about. That was really respectful to him, from him, to be honest, and he could have easily have run me wide through the first part, and I just about get a penalty. I think I must have just got 1 pixel of tyre off of the circuit. At the end of the race though, it was a fairly convincing victory. It was a couple of seconds, about 4 seconds in the end, so another win. So there we go, nice stuff indeed. So I'm going to take you to the FIA races now. This is the final race of the Manufacturers Series, and from the previous season. So the new season starts on 8th of August. This is the last race from the last season. Now I'm going to attack the next season quite hard. I want to get the SS rating, and well, this is the last race, and this is one of my finer races, I think. This is the qualifying lap, so it's at Le Mans, 6 lap race in the Nissan once again, and this is Group 3. Coming up to the back of some traffic for my flying lap, which isn't ideal. So we're coming up to the end of the lap here. and of course this is a really important lap for qualifying. Well, qualifying is always important, so we're going to see how we go here. It's just a 1 lap shootout basically. You have 10 minutes, but you only have time to get around and do 1 flying lap. So breaking the 4-minute barrier for our lap time, which was really pleasing. And looking at the scores afterwards, no one else managed to do it. In fact, the next best time was nearly 2 seconds slower, so that bodes well. And the guy in second is an SS driver. And let's go from pole position, 6 laps of Le Mans to get some good results here. So in the previous race in this series, I got 1,300 points, and that was at the Nürburgring. You might well have watched the race. It was my head-to-head battle. It was a really good battle, really good race. And if you haven't seen it, definitely have a look at it on the channel. I think it's called Gran Turismo Sport My Best Ever Head-to-Head Battle. I think that's what it's called. And that was a really good race as well. So here we go then. We're going to try to emulate that race, or ideally. You don't want to be in a head-to-head battle, you just want to be out in the front on your own, miles ahead. That's the more ideal situation, really. So through Tertre Rouge onto the Mulsanne straight, already pulling out about a second, and now that's ideal because, as we've seen at Monza, you want to be out of that slipstreaming range so that people aren't getting a free half a second down the straight. Or you can either basically get free time, if you're in slipstream, you can get free time by catching up, or you can fuel save more and just stay exactly where you were. So there's always a benefit to being in the slipstream. So I've just pulled out over a second here, so they're not within that range, which is good. So I'm not giving them free time or the ability to fuel save more than I am. Through the second chicane, really nailed that quite nicely. The GTR Nismo, as I have a bit of a stutter there, the GTR Nismo really well balanced, I think. It is a fairly bulky car. It's a heavy thing, but it just has grip. It doesn't slide around too much. The acceleration's good, the top speed is good. It's a really good all-round car, and it's one that I don't regret choosing at all. Really pleased with the choice of choosing this car. It will be interesting to see for Season 3, because obviously you still have to use the Nissan. I will be using the Nissan, but I'd imagine quite a few people are going to choose the Ford. The new Ford GT is very strong in Group 3, so you may see that making an appearance and having some strong rounds. It might not be so good around the twistier circuits though. So this is the latter stage of the first lap. Now the first lap is always crucial in a race, especially if you've got the speed. You just want to break that toe, get away. I mean, we see a lot of Formula 1 drivers do it. I remember always Sebastian Vettel, breaking the DRS range and just breaking away from the pack early on, so that by the time the DRS came on, then they couldn't catch up with him. It's a similar effect here. I mean, there's no DRS obviously, but I'm just trying to get out of that slipstreaming range, so that people aren't getting free time off of me. So through the Porsche curves, the car gripping really nicely, a little bit wide through that one, just about keeping it within the track limits, and coming up to the final stage of the circuit. Just looking for the curb on the right hand side, you're braking just before it, so there it is, the pit lane entry there, and you're braking on pretty much the point of the white line, and then through the final chicanes, the car just so planted, and there's just no drama at all, and it's just really pleasant to drive this thing. So over the line we go. We've managed to break the pack. We've got about more than 2 seconds worth of gap, worth of air between us. So as long as I can keep up that sort of pace, I should be okay. Just hope that they aren't fuel saving too much, and I should be okay. So a little bit later on, well, about 20 minutes later on, it was a really convincing win. Pretty much 6 of those laps back to back, and we come over the line, and we are a long way ahead, getting the fastest lap of the race, dipping again below 4 minutes. In fact, there it is, 21.7 seconds ahead of second place, and to be honest, that is one of my most dominant wins that I've ever had in this game. So really pleased with that, especially against some SS drivers. The game decided to crash because it was that good, so I was a bit worried that it didn't count, but luckily it did after going back into the game and checking the score. So the next FIA season, as I say, begins on the 8th of August. I'll be trying to hit that one hard and get a really good score. Let me know your thoughts as always, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. I shall see you next time. If you did enjoy, then do hit the like button, that always helps, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Now thank you for watching. As always, guys, I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Listen.